what if AI kept working after you closed your laptop? No, not a saved draft, not waited for you to come back, but actually kept working while you were not, while you were away from your computer and while you were giving yourself a break because you became more efficient. And that is the pitch behind Claude Cowork. But I had to find out if this actually held up. Is it true? Does it actually make it so that you can take your hands off the wheel? And it is AI. Should you take your hands off the wheel? But what is Claude Cowork? Claude Cowork is Anthropic's basically agent workspace. It's, I would say, the same engine behind Claude Code. And it points at everyday knowledge instead of, well, just code. It lives inside of Claude app, on the desktop, on the web, in the mobile. And it can read your local files, connect to things like Google Drive and Gmail, and it actually produces finished work like spreadsheets, slide decks, formatted documents. It's not just chat replies. Welcome back to GBRLIFE Reviews, where I test the tools so you don't have to waste your time, your money, or really anything. And today I am breaking down Claude Cowork and what it does and what surprised me. And whether, and this is the most important question, if it's worth it. So now let's get into it while you like and subscribe. And we all know where we're going first, right? With what I like. So here we are inside of Claude, but not just anywhere in Claude. We are on the desktop app because I'm a huge Claude fan. Yeah, this one, I love this guy. It's a guy to me. AI is a man to me. We can discuss that in the comments as to why, but I probably won't answer. I'll just read all your comments instead. So let's get into what I like. That's what I said. Here, this is on Fable currently. And what you're going to see in front of you is afternoon, Caitlin, because it knows my name. Okay, yeah, because I'm paying the bill and I signed up and there's an account and everything. So it knows my name. But maybe AI and I have a wonderful relationship and we like each other. Okay, no, I'm not a crazy person. I'm married. I love my husband. But here you have chat and Cowork. And what are we talking about today? We're talking about Cowork. And here's the thing. They did have Cowork on the top left where I know you can't see it on the screen currently. And there's a reason for that. I have my therapy chats. You don't need to know about, my discussion about how I feel about things, how I feel about life, how I feel about the crazies. No, instead, we're going to be focused on how to get this to be my therapist behind closed doors. No, I mean actually how to get it to do things for me instead. And it used to be on the left, but they updated it. It is no longer on the side of the screen where you would go and look into your projects and artifacts and schedules and things like that. No, instead, this time it's right here, right in front of you. And you get to decide which you're going to use, which model you're going to use, and determine whether or not you're going to have high effort or extra effort or max, and then the rest of your models. They have this here because this is going to use a lot of your credits. So if you're using this at its highest, you're not going to get as much because it's going to hit your limit much faster. But under these other models, like it says, you're going to get complex tasks here. You're going to get your most efficient effort for everyday tasks. Haiku, for example, is saying fastest for quick answers. And that's where you're going to decide what you want. But I would suggest between now and the next 2 days, go ahead and use Fable if you're paying for it. If not, at least once so you can get a better idea and go straight into Cowork. You can get this to run with Cowork and have, I would say, some of the best outputs you're ever going to get, at least to get things set up. And then continue along with probably Opus or Sonnet, depending on what you're doing. And I go back and forth between these two, again, depending on what I'm doing. Especially if you're having it, maybe help you write up an email or something like that. You could probably go over to Sonnet before you're going to go over to Opus. But we're talking about Cowork today, but this all has something to do with it. So when you go over to Cowork, you can start by saying that you want to get it set up. Now, what I like about it is that it is that simple just to get started. It actually will tell you like, hey, do you want to get this set up? Because it wants people on Cowork. So I really like that. I like that Claude is almost always more intuitive in letting us know, hey, you want this, right? Okay, maybe it's not necessarily intuitive. Maybe it's telling us what to do. Maybe this is the beginning of the takeover. But in my case, I really like it. And so therefore, you can just go in and you can say, hey, let's get started. And it starts with skills. Now, we've talked about skills in the past, but they're basically a way to tell Claude exactly how to do whatever it is that you want it to do. It's like taking a prompt and making it as detailed as humanly possible and having Claude now remember that for the rest of eternity, basically. And it's now going to pull from that. It has its own skills and stuff as well, and you can create them with it. And this is it using its own skill to start with Cowork. And anything that's done here, what I also like here is that this is going to travel across anything that you're using. So this is based off of the dashboard that I downloaded onto the computer, but I can also use this on the web. It's going to look exactly the same for the most part, and it's going to have all the same information. So anything I'm doing here, I can still do in other locations, including your phone. Plus, because this has the opportunity to really change my life in my day-to-day work, it's going to make it so that anything that's big can get broken down into pieces. Anything that requires output can come right out, especially on the desktop app. It's going to actually do output that I'm going to use right on my computer, like Excel or PowerPoint or anything Microsoft related is all I'm thinking of right now. And that's just where we're going to go with it. Okay. You may have other things in your brain, and that's okay, because I'm going to show you that it does work with other things. Plus, you can edit everything right inside of this. And it has that persistent memory. So you do not have to actually go through and figure out to remind it what you were talking about in the past. It's got it because it has those skills and it's trying to be able to be the best assistant for you. So let me show you everything that I'm saying. And which actually, one last thing, I know you're probably thinking security. Anthropic is one of those that is better with security than many other AI tools. That's all I can really say, in the sense that, of course, there's going to be things that you do need to worry about. I would never just put anything to do with all of this. I would always really think about that. Is that something that you're comfortable with the world potentially knowing one day? That's kind of the way I look at it. And I'd say most cases, most people don't care. But if it's something that's very personal and very private, maybe don't go and do your therapy sessions on here. Leave that for me. I need all of the abilities to do that because that's what I use AI for, not this stuff. Let's talk about this stuff though. So here it's showing, okay, it wants to figure out the role. I said, I'm a business owner. I do it all. And you fellow business owners, we agree, right? We all do it and everything. Do you have people that you hire? Because I don't. What's that like? I want to know what it's like to delegate a task. I can't delegate. I have no one to delegate to. Being the jack of all trades and the master of, well, your business. Okay, so as you're going through, it's going to say, cool, you're a business owner. Let's do these 10 skills that I already have for small business, or these 5 skills for operations, or these 4 skills for productivity. And I was like, yeah, cool, install all of that. And then it was like, okay, cool. So what do you want to do from here? You want to get started? If you're thinking I knew to press that, no, it told me to press that. It doesn't show that right here, but then it was like, okay, just go ahead and select whichever one you want, and we'll get started. And let me show you what I mean. So over here, you would backslash and type that in, or you just press try it and it'll come right down here. And there's 26 more skills from that one alone. If I go over to operations, same thing, 4 more skills. I went with productivity and I pressed try it. Ta-da! And I can just delete that if I didn't want to do that one, or go to update to sync all my tasks. Whatever I'm trying to do, I have the opportunity to do that, and it's guiding me through. Then it went ahead and created an entire tasks template so that it can get itself ready on what to do. I'm sure you're wondering what that looks like, and I'm going to show you. Right here, this is for the HTML style, so it looks nicer, and then this is your Google Drive if you want to do it off of your Google Drive. And it automatically went to these 2 locations because it already knew that this was an option that I used. So it went for it. Okay, what do I do next? Because I was like, okay, I don't know what to do here. And it was like, cool, now let's go ahead and add in your connectors. It has a few connectors. Let's go and browse them. From here, you can see Canva, Gmail, Google Calendar, Drive, Notion, the Shopify app, and Claude in Chrome. And I did not connect GitHub, but you also have skills that you can look through. You also have your plugins that, remember, we just did those, but you can add more from the marketplace. You can upload a plugin that maybe you created, maybe you got from somewhere else. The other thing you can do here is create it with Claude, and it will add it to this area right here. Let's go ahead and select ad marketplace, and then you have life sciences, financial services, legal, Claude Tag. And again, there's a lot more, but you'll have to kind of continue to browse through all of this. Now, from there, you also have for your business, because it's going to come up with what do people typically use for business. Again, those connectors, if I select on it, came up right over here, but even more came over here. And this is just what's coming up for what they think a business will be using. And you just go ahead and connect it, whatever it is that you want to. I wanted it to make sure that everything was working. I kept going. And then from here, it's like, okay, we've done all of these different things. Let's go ahead and get started with something that you want to do. I figured Canva, right? So Canva creator. And then from here, it's like, cool, let's create a campaign. I can choose and decide, okay, I want it to be Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and all the other social media places. I already have the pro teams planned with Canva. I can add in photos of my own. I want it to be about Claude Cowork. It's saying it needs more information. No problem. So I'll say Claude Cowork review for my blog, GBRLIFE reviews. And now it's getting the information it needs. But you can also see that it's helping me help it. And I think that's one of the best things about something like Claude. It knows exactly how to help you help it because it's also getting to know you as you're working with it. As it gets to know you, it also lays out things in a way that just makes sense for what you do. So the more that it gets to know not just you, but also your business, it's going to go ahead and lay out, for example, here, this entire calendar of how I should do things. Okay, I should on the 10th do a square post. And this is the angle. On the 20th, full review launch is when it's going to actually come out. It's now live and help me through that. And then it's saying, I want photos or assets from you for Canva because it's going to need that for an image. Now, I could tell it to go ahead and do its own and instead of giving it anything. But in this case, I'm going to go ahead and provide it an image so that it can work with Canva in a way that I may actually like it too, without worrying if it's going to use something that doesn't make sense. And this is the image I'm figuring I think I'm going to use this guy. It's a pretty cute one. I don't really know what that is, but it's like a happy Claude. Like it's like happy Claude turned into a happy little robot man and he's waving at you. And he's like, "Hi, I'm little Claude robot man." So he's going to be used for the image. Okay. And it finally created it. It created 3 different options. It had a couple questions for me, and I was like, okay, yeah, go for it, blah, blah, blah. And we'll get into what I don't like in just a second, but it did create these different options. And then it was like, hey, okay, go look at them. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it so you can see it. Essentially, it created this one first, not bad. And you can open it right here, or you can open it directly in Canva. And then here's option number 2, here's option number 3, and it did give me an option 4. Not bad. Now, this is just a little peek into what Cowork can do. Essentially, what you're seeing in front of you is that all I'm asking it to do as it's getting to know me is to create this thing for me, and I no longer have to do this. This means all I have to do is have a conversation, and Cowork will now create all of the designs for me. It will work with Canva in order to create anything I needed to create for me. I can give it photos of my reviews and it'll create some brand new idea for pretty much all of my social media ads, my posts. I could even probably give it a video and it will help me work with that video, probably through Canva though, and not necessarily edit it, but tell me, take this part, take this part, take this part, and this will work really great for your next social media post. You don't want to do it that way? This also works with your email. It can create a brief for you on all of the emails that came in and what you may need to handle. It can also work with you on your budgets, especially in a business standpoint. I mean, there's a lot to do there, customers to deal with. This is basically set up to work with you. It's co-working. You work by telling it what it needs to do, and then it gets it done. And here's the best part. You can set this up as you started it this way and then continue through an agent and have this just continuously working with you. But there's a few things that I don't love with all of this. So now it's time to talk about, what I don't like. And that's, for one, your computer use. It's actually taking over your computer, but because it's now going to go look through everything. The more access it has, the more it's going to look through on your computer, all through your documents, all through everything. So its access is insane. And so it could be a little invasive in that way. I don't love that. And then it goes through your usage limits very quickly. Doing this entire thing probably used up half of what I would actually use in a month because I'm working with it very heavily and it needs to go through everything in order to determine what needs to be done next. So even though this seems really small, it's actually a lot that it's doing. And it's also not built for regulated or highly sensitive data yet. Because right now, it's going to kind of keep everything that you have because it's made to do that. So you have to be very particular about what you're giving it information of because it's going to store it. And that's not always a good thing. Another thing that's not always a good thing, pricing. Let's talk about how much all of this is going to cost. So here we have the price. Right now, I use Pro. That is your Pro plan, and it's billed annually or it's billed monthly. If you were to go annual, that's $213. By going with the monthly, I'm paying $17. Then you have your max. So you see that too. It says 100. So that's a lot. And then you have your team and enterprise. And that's going to be $20 to $25 when billed monthly a seat or $100. And then you have your enterprise. I don't even want to know. It doesn't say it, but I don't even want to know. So that's a lot. What are you getting for all of this? Essentially, this one's going to get you working and getting it done happily. You're going to be fine on something like this if it's just you. If you have a small business, you'll probably be pretty decent with your standard seat monthly or yearly option of $25 a month or $20 a month. It's going to be expensive because that's just the reality here. This is not free. There is no free Cowork tier. You have to pay for Pro or that guy. Which brings us into the other big question. Is it worth it? Is Claude Cowork worth it? Well, if you're already on Claude Pro or Max, this is a really good option. And I would say, it's worth it. Yes. And on so many, just yes. I could go into details, but I feel like yes is pretty, it's pretty easy to just yes. But if you are just using this for casual chatting, maybe no, I would not use this. I would say that this is something that is not going to work for you in any capacity because all you're doing is having a conversation. What do you need more than that? If that's all you want to do, no, it's not worth it then. But everyone else who's using it on the Pro or the Max side, this is worth it. And that is the reason I am giving Claude Cowork the GBRLIFE rating of a 4 out of 5 because it does deliver exactly what it promises. It's going to take every task that you have for the most part, and it's going to continue to do all of that even when you close your laptop, especially when you turn it into an agent, which you can do directly inside there as well. Or you can do Claude Console and work inside of there in your sandbox, which may sound insane, but I will say that you just work with Claude. It's going to be able to do it with you. And that's what's really awesome here. And so that's why it's a really good option. I gave it a 4. But it's going to get an entire point removed because this isn't going to work on a free plan. You have to pay a good amount of money every single month. And it's going to get a lot of things done. It's not going to get it done exactly how you want. And it's going to have access to a whole lot more than you may actually want it to have access to. So I can't say it's really for everybody, but I can say it's worth looking at if you're interested in something like this. But it really will be your actual assistant if you really wanted to. It can take over a lot. What I showed you is literally just the smallest, easiest example. But now I want to know what you think. Have you used Claude Cowork before? Are you already making entire websites and clothing brands and everything and anything apps with Claude Cowork? Or are you using another AI assistant to change your entire daily routine? Well, drop that in the comments below. But that is it for this week's review. And if you want more, remember, you can check out the companion blog over at GBRLIFE.com. It is linked below. And if you want another tool right now, check out the GBR Life Reviews playlist, because there's many more just like this, including my review from last week on Relay app. A whole other way to continue with things like this. What do you mean? It's workflows. Workflows may be what you're actually looking for. Maybe it's not Claude Cowork, but you'll find that out when you watch that one next. And remember, with everything on GBRLife.com and my fabulous Mama Koala clothing line, you don't have to be without GBR Life in your life. Now go check out the next review, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!